We will hear from both the natural resources and the environment ministers as they lament following the death of the anti-Galamsey campaign on which President Akufo-Addo once staked his presidency.
This is Top Story with Evans Mensah.
And Top Story is always brought to you by Bond Savings and Loans. Your success, our passion. Also brought to you by Gasem Cement, the Nation Builder, and Vodafone. The future is exciting. Ready. President Akufo-Addo once staked his presidency on it when he made the following declaration in 2017.
When you know that the activities that they're involved in are jeopardizing the very survival of our nation, I took the decision that that would be a betrayal of the trust that the Ghanaian people put in me on the 7th of January this year. I've said it in the cabinet, and perhaps it's the first time I'll be saying it in public. I am prepared to put my presidency on the line on this matter. I've heard it being said that I should be careful. Many of these people voted for me, and if I continue this exercise, perhaps they will not vote for me again. If by the grace of God I'm in a position, my party allows me to go again, and I have the health and everything to go again, that I'll not get it again. And I'll say to myself, well, this is a choice that all of us have to make as human beings. You do what you think is right, or do you do what you think will allow you to get along? I think that you do what you think is right. That is what you're required to do.
President Akufo-Addo was talking there about the fight against illegal mining. That was in 2017. 2 years on, the Ghana Water Company has tonight announced it has been forced to ration water in parts of the country due to a resurgence in illegal mining, which has led to a heavy pollution of some rivers. Listen to Communications Manager at the Ghana Water Company, Stanley Mate, speaking to us a short while ago.
With all the water bodies that we have tracked for treatment throughout the country, and these water bodies are affected one way or the other, especially illegal alluvial mining. And so if you look at the Pra River, for instance, we have 3 treatment plants dotted on the Pra, and they are all challenged as a result of illegal alluvial mining. Upstream, because they do it upstream and it goes downstream. In some cases, they even mine just around the intake.
Have we started rationing water because some people are complaining about it?
We are managing the distribution of the water, especially in the western region, because instead of, for instance, 11 million gallons of water that our 2 treatment plants can treat or produce daily, we are only producing averagely 3 million gallons of water. And that cannot be enough for the population in secondary Takoradi. So the only thing is to manage the distribution such that some people can't get water on a particular day, and then others can get on another day. So we have categorized them into 3, and we are doing an even distribution so that with at least every part of the city can have access to some water in the week. We are also encouraging everybody to clean all receptacles that hitherto has been abandoned, so that we can be able to store water. And then so in the event where the tap is not flowing, then you can resort to your storage.
Well, my colleague Latif Idris recently, just last week, Friday, traveled with the Lands and Natural Resources Minister, and the minister himself apparently saw the resurgence for himself as he visited some parts of the country. He joins me in the studio right now. Where were you exactly with the minister?
So this latest tour by the minister took him to the Amansie Central District in the Ashanti region.
An area notorious for illegal mining, and one of the areas focused that the Interministerial Task Force, the Army, focused quite heavily in the early stages of this campaign. Exactly. Yeah. What did he find there?
He found huge devastation.
This was in the forest reserve, correct?
Forest reserve. This is the Oda River Forest Reserve. Now, this devastation we are talking about is not only with regards to the forest proper. You know, the forest reserve is the Oda River Forest Reserve. So there is a water body in there, and then there is a forest reserve. What these illegal miners, we are told, our Chinese and their Ghanaian collaborators are doing is that they are not only causing harm to the forest by digging for gold, they are also on the river, on the Oda River. So doing it with a chamfai machine and also doing it with the excavators and other washing machines in the main forest reserve itself. Now, so the minister, this was like a shocker to him because he didn't expect it. The tour actually was for the minister to visit some mining or forest reserves in the country. And so the Oda Forest Reserve is one of the forests he was visiting. And then this one just
I get the point you make. So this wasn't a tour to look at the success or otherwise of the fight against Galamsey. He was just visiting forest reserves and just happened to discover that people were actively destroying the forest
in Galamsey and the level of destruction.
You spoke to the minister himself. Sort of articulated his own surprise at this.
Exactly. He couldn't believe it, and so he has announced that we are now going to adopt new strategy. That is, the government is going to adopt new strategy in dealing with the menace of Galamsey.
You see how they have devastated the forest, and it is not only this area. As we are being told, there are other areas of this forest.
And just to cut you, we can hear a sound in the background. We are told this is chamfai machine operating on the river. Does this come as a shock to you, considering the fact that we've fought illegal mining for close to 3 years now, since President Akufo-Addo took over?
I have always been telling you journalists that as we close one avenue today, they open another. For we are not regular on the ground. So if we should sack them from Bekwai, they move to Apamprama. If we sack them from Apamprama, then they move to Aparapi. That's what they do, right? So where they see that we are very active on the ground at this Oda forest, they move to another forest. All the forest is full of gold. So they do some small geological work. They move into work. You see, there is one excavator.
Sorry.
Today too. There is one excavator in the in the open pit. And as soon as they saw us, they fled.
Yeah.
It means that when we leave here, they will come back and work. So the action that we have to take here will have to be immediate. Looking at it, we have those who do surface mining go this way, and they are giving license for that. Today we don't give license for people to mine in the forest, because it is cabinet directive that even where other companies had gone through the process of doing mining, they had been stopped. You could see the modus operandi over here, that it is largely Chinese who are doing this job, ostensibly being facilitated by Ghanaians.
And I'm curious, this area, as we indicated at the top of the bulletin, is known for illegal mining, was a focal point for the Galamsey fight declared by the president, where Operation Vanguard was deployed. Did we find any boots on the ground there?
So as we speak, we do not have men from the Operation Vanguard unit patrolling this very forest. We have men in the region, but with this particular Oda River Forest Reserve, we do not have men or boots on the ground.
And how widespread is the destruction that you saw?
So we are looking at some 16,000 hectares of forest reserve. Out of this 16,000, 7 hectares is gone.
Okay.
Completely gone.
Over what period?
Over less than a month.
I see.
Less than a month. And so the minister has been now talking about the strategy going forward. You know, in the past, when this whole fight started, the Interministerial Committee, Operation Vanguard, and all other interest groups fighting Galamsey had the powers to just retrieve or arrest some of these equipment. Now, the minister says we are changing the strategy going forward. We will not only seize the machines, but then now he has the power to destroy some of the machines and set them on fire as he did.
When Amewu was there, I remember this was something that he also said. Let's listen to the current minister on this.
Together with technical officers from the Minerals Commission and the Forestry Commission.
You think the military is the way to go?
As of now, we have no other alternative than to use them. You know, these miners, if you come here unarmed, you may be attacked. No civilian can easily approach them to tell them to stop, unless our brothers in the military are here. Their uniform alone is enough scare to them.
So, how soon should we expect this military deployment to this other forests?
Just next week, it will happen.
So immediately, like you mentioned, next week we should expect this deployment taking place.
Yes.
Do you have an idea of the number you would want to deploy?
Maybe
16,000 hectares, we are told.
Yes, if we come with 2 platoon, in military when they say platoon, it means 30 soldiers. So 2 platoon is 60 soldiers. 60 soldiers are around, nobody will come here.
But they still manage to break through even with the military or Vanguard team on the ground. They are still operating.
They are not here. Vanguard is not here. Are they here? They are not here. What the officer said was that there were some people who purportedly were in military uniform, and they assumed that they were military officers. We have met to revise our notes. We are adopting very pragmatic steps, including burning of such equipment. The excavators, we say that we'll come and lift them. But these equipment under fire now, if we should leave them, in the night they may come back to operate. Getting the equipment back to this site to work today, tomorrow, is going to be difficult.
And Latif, they actually burned some of the equipment.
Yeah. So the washing machines, the generators, some cylinders, and some personal effects of the illegal miners were burned by the minister and the team that followed him.
Latif, thank you very much. Let me bring in now the communications manager for the Ghana Water Company, Mr. Stanley Martin. Mr. Martin, thank you for your time here on Top Story.
Yeah, thank you very much, Evans.
Also joining me is a man who was the lead voice in the joint campaign that was started. The media played a significant role in that as well. Mr. Ken Ashigbe. Mr. Ashigbe, thank you for your time here on Top Story.
Thank you very much, Evans.
Yeah, Mr. Martin, this the water pollution subject. Let me ask you. It improved at a point, didn't it? It significantly was better, and the water that you treat for us to drink was significantly enhanced. Did it not?
Yes, it did, Evans. Most areas, for instance, it cleared entirely because we managed to stop the operations on that stretch. For instance, in the Birim River, for instance, it stopped. And the water came back to normal. But apart from the Birim, almost all river bodies still had some high turbidity because we're not able to stop with operations entirely. Or sometimes you go on operation during the day and then in the evening they come back. So by the time you return in the morning, the water is still turbid again. So it hasn't stopped entirely, but it's reduced. And then we also had very good rains last year. So it improved on the quality of the raw water. Okay, but now when the dry season, the levels are very low, and if it is so, and then it's a good time for the operations of Galamsey, and that is what we are seeing as of now.
I see the point you're making there. I didn't think about it like that, but what you're saying is that with the dry season coming in, water levels have dropped. Good time for you now to excavate because you spend as much time and effort to do so. And so the impact on the water that you're treating has become worse as a result.
Exactly.
I see.
And it's also happening in other parts of the country, including the Nawuni River in the northern region. In Nawuni, the wind sand. Okay, and so when the levels are down, the wind is sand, and then obviously we'll see some turbidity as well. So we are facing that challenge again. I remember last year or 2 years ago, some trucks were burnt.
I do remember, yes.
Yes. And they have gone back to the operations again. So
they have bought new equipment to replace those they burnt.
I guess so, and it's a good season for them. So they have reinvested into into that operations again. And I think it's a good time for us also to step up our campaign against pollution of our river bodies. We have done a lot of investment. The government has done a lot of investments in the water sector, and if you are going to allow the resource to be destroyed, then it's going to affect our investment. It will affect the entire country.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
really need to do something about it.
Stanley, hold the line for me, Mr. Shigbe. You must be angry at what you're hearing today.
I'm beyond angry. I'm so distraught, and unfortunately for me, this is not new. We've been picking up the indications for a while now, and part of the feelings is Evans, is your feelings as well. It's the fact that the media as well have gone back to sleep. But if you look at where we were, the president expended a lot of political capital in demonstrating political will and political courage about this. And all the fights that we did, people's lives that were put at risk, and all of that, we've come to this. The question you would ask yourself is that the plan that we had, even the roadmap, to coming to sustainable mining, what has happened of it? Where are the drones? Why is the minister complaining that we need 2 platoons of the military? We're supposed to have drones up in the air that were taking footages that would be able to provide this footage to Operation Vanguard and other operators. We're supposed to, by now, tagging and tracking these excavators. We were supposed to have had some galam stops, some people on the field checking what was going on. So if you look at all these conversations that we've had, the plans that we have done, and we are allowing, people to go back into forest reserves. We are we've even gotten the point where people are even mining close to the roads again. Where are the DCs, who are the representatives of the president in these places, who are in charge of the security, the district mining committee and the district security committee and the municipal mining security committees? Where are they? And these things are happening. And these things are not hidden. And all of them are sitting there and they still are keeping their jobs. We all should be angry because this is virtually our own life that we are mortgaging. And unfortunately, Evans, we're getting into the political season again. And I pray that we are not going to sacrifice our very existence on the platform of NDC and NPP.
But at the top of the bulletin, it deliberately played the president in 2017, making the claim, in fact not claiming, stating categorically that he is ready to sacrifice his political career or his presidency if he has to fight this to the end. And so I guess he hasn't changed that position. So whether election or not, I guess we have to hold him to it.
Yes, definitely we have to. But, as we do that as well, we should also hold the people who are down there who are supposed to be working. What has happened to all these foreigners who have been arrested? We definitely at some point, the president stated that was a mistake to have allowed Aisha Wan to go. So it will be important to go and ask that all these foreigners who are being arrested, what has happened to them? And you see, these big equipment, they don't just, somebody does not put them in their pockets and just slip them into these places. They go through all the various roadblocks. All the police people who are on these roadblocks are national security operatives. Where are they when we have these, excavators and chamfans all being smuggled into these communities? So we all should be angry.
Yeah, Mr. Shigbe, you asked the question about the foreigners involved in this, the Chinese, etc., what has happened to them. The Minister responsible for the Environment, Dr. Frimpong Boateng, has an answer to that question that you just posed there. Listen to what his response is to that particular question you posed.
We have arrested about 15 Chinese and they are in the courts. The court system, that is very frustrating for us. I know they go to court and they are bailed, and I can imagine that some of them may even go to do what they know how to do best in Ghana, and then when it's date for court, they will go to court. So it's very frustrating, and I cannot influence the court system. Sometimes even the Attorney General finds it difficult because of the way we are. So far, since the new law came, I know that we have about 15 Chinese who are attending court, but none of them has been prosecuted or jailed so far.
Mr. Shigbe, that's your answer there. That's Frimpong Boateng.
Yes, but you see, when you come to, I'm not a lawyer, but if you look into the justice delivery system, it's not just the issue of the judge. It starts right from the arrests that are made, the people who are investigating it, the prosecutors who are prosecuting the cases. Bear in mind that the media coalition at some point had to even petition because we had a situation in which some Chinese when they were found guilty, the punishment that was given to them was the minimum that is given to Ghanaians. So yes, I agree that everybody, the judges and the prosecutors, everybody within those teams. But in all of this, we can't just throw our hands up in the air. This is a national crisis. So we should ask ourselves, how much complaint have we gotten from those who are prosecuting, right from the Minister for Interior, who is responsible for the police, who handles part of the prosecution, to the Attorney General, who also does some of the prosecution. How much uproar have we got? We know that the president at some point had complained about that. But what exactly is it that is happening that is causing all of these things to happen? What is the immigration officers doing about this? Because we know that these Chinese people, when they come and they get into Galamsey, they have to go through our immigration system. How come we are not even getting immigration to go out into these places? And once they find them there, they know that they don't have the right permits to be there. They are taken out of there, but they actually are working. So it is important that we get a lot more coordination and all the parties that have to work, including the chiefs, including a lot of the district chief executive, which I would claim are the primary people who have to be at the very forefront of this. All of us working together. And it's important for you, the journalists, as well, to rise up again and go back to the time where you were putting a lot of pressure on this. But another question we also should be asking is, our intelligence, society, what are they doing? Why is it that all of these things are going? Because you see, just as we said that the people in the north have gone to buy this equipment, these are not cheap equipment. So they are not bought by the people we find in the pit. They are very influential, rich people, powerful people who are behind it, who are providing the resources for this to happen. So we are able to deal with them at that level. And I remember the Operation Vanguard commander had also raised that we need to focus on that. And that focus cannot come from just the police. We need our intelligence officers to follow the money. Where is the money coming from? So that all of these people can be brought to book.
Yeah.
But most importantly, the MMIP that we said was going to come, we know that the committee had been formed. They need to bring that up. For me, I still insist that it is important that the Interministerial Committee have done their work. We should disband them and let them empower the constitutionally mandated, but get them to work. Those who are not working, the technical people who are not working, let's hold them responsible. We can't go back to the time again where our water bodies will be shut again. Where
in fact, that's where I'm going next. And Stanley, you've already detailed for us that, particularly in the Western region, you've been forced to begin managing the supply, rationing the water. Is the Western region the only place you've been forced to do this?
Yeah, currently that is where we are hard hit, and so we have drawn a program for the communities, so they all know when they are supposed to get water.
And you're also telling us that, of course, you're spending far more now to try and treat the water. For the rest of us who continue to have regular water supply, you're spending far more because of the resurgence in the problem.
Yeah, exactly so.
Have you estimated, for those in the Western region who are listening to us tonight and maybe concerned, is this something that you expect based on the turbidity you're seeing and the pollution you're seeing that should be fixed in a shortest possible time, or what you began to do in the Western region could have possibly spread and even become a longer problem?
Yes. One, first of all, it will depend on the next rain. We're in the dry season now, so one is expected. But then we can't tell because of the way the patients are. If we are there to stop the galamseyas now, we could have some improvement. Okay, but the levels are low, though, so it also causes siltation around the intake. So it becomes difficult for us to abstract enough water. But then if we stop, then we can dredge the intake area and we can have some water as well. The other challenge is that because of the turbidity of the water, okay, when we abstract the water, we lose about 40% before we're able to get some water to treat.
So if we are unable to stop, it will get to a point where it will not be economically feasible for us to treat the water. Because if we have to, for instance, abstract water and lose about 60%, considering energy and the chemical cost and everything, it will not be prudent for us to be treating the water. So it means that we may have to stop production entirely, and we don't want to get there. So
oh goodness, entirely, just for Western region, for all of us?
Yes.
Just for the Western region?
Currently in the Western region.
Wow, so you're saying that if this is not stopped now, it will only get to the point where even the one you're rationing, there won't be rationing at all. There will be complete lack of water, at least running through the pipes.
Exactly so. Because like I said initially, instead of about 11 million, we are only able to treat averagely 3 million. Averagely 3 million means that sometimes it is less. Okay, so if we get to a point where we have to be abstracting and only getting about, let's say, 2 million or less, then we may have to stop production entirely.
Okay, Mr. Ashigbe, so we had the minister say in that clip that they are going to try doing something different, but his specifics is that they're going to start burning the equipment. They're going to send 2 platoons in. It sounds like something we've heard before.
Well, it's good. It's important we get to that point, because we've got a lot of these people who are involved in this galamsey. What happens is that when they go in and immobilize the equipment, they also have a team who would go back later on and then go and fix the equipment again and continue mining, because we are not able to provide equipment to tow these equipment out of the place. But I remember when the roadmap was coming back, we knew that equipment like the champans and things, there's no other economic use apart from galamsey. So definitely, once it happens, the most important thing is to make sure you destroy it so that they cannot use it again. And then also all the conversations, all the things that already we knew we were going to do. The question we should be asking is, well, where are we with that?
Yeah.
Have we provided the night vision accoutrement so that these Operation Vanguard can go in at night when some of these people?
Yeah, and I remember that there was also tracking of some of the equipment as well. Drones you mentioned. In fact, we're told at that particular statement that was issued that already 150 of them have already been 150 people were already being trained to use the drones. We haven't seen them yet. More questions and answers. Ken Ashigbe, I'm grateful that you could join me. Stanley Mate as well, although pretty scary what I heard from Stanley about the possibility that if you live in the Western region, it's possible, if this is not stopped now, that eventually you wouldn't have water at all running through your taps. Already you're dealing with water rationing. More on this as and when we get further clarity. On Newsnight shortly, we'll be telling you why the Public Accounts Committee ordered the arrest of some officials today and they were put in handcuffs. We have details for that here, for you here on Newsnight in a few seconds.